Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Got
Hi.
on my
There we
video.
go. Let's just put you in here so everyone can see you.
See, I'm watching. I'm gonna be everyone. I'm watching right now. I'm watching on my phone. That's why I'm looking down.
Give me 1 second.
Hey, let's see. Can I make this widescreen on my phone? There we go. That's better.
There we are. Oh my gosh,
There
that
you are.
worked beautifully.
Oh, it's let me do this. Something happened to my camera system, so I need to try to move this over. Why are you not moving? Oh, that's why. Let's see, it needs to go to about there. I'll know in like 30 seconds because it's about that far behind. There we go. Well, maybe 10 seconds behind. I
Eh,
exaggerate sometimes. And then slightly smaller.
Actually, I am going to actually shut off some of my programs. And guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. When you're teaching or whenever you're producing video content, shut off your other programs. You may have the
Yeah,
strongest computer in the world, but it helps.
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're using, especially if you're using a digital audio workstation, just those are the worst. Those are worse than video. As soon as you get past one audio input, it just starts to eat the processing power.
Yeah, it really does. But how was your vacation, Phil?
It was good. I went to Busch Gardens, looked at some animals, rode one ride. Waited too long for the ride, so I decided not to do any more. Just looked at like I just like watching the animals. It's a cool big giant zoo with roller coasters.
That's really cool. Yeah, I don't think I've actually been to Busch Gardens before.
Well, they are only in Florida and Virginia. So there's one in Tampa and one in Williamsburg.
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
And I think the one in Tampa has a bigger zoo, and the one in Williamsburg maybe has a bigger coaster park. I'm not really. I think
Hmm,
something like that.
interesting.
So
Interesting,
it's a cool
interesting.
place.
Cool, 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 cool.
So that was just one day, and then just mostly relaxing, and we just little things around town.
That's good.
We already live in Florida. I'm not gonna go further south.
Yeah, I mean, unless if you really like the heat, I guess.
I do, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's gonna be 97 here today though, so let's
Oh
push it a little.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, it's 92 right now.
Oh my
Let's
God,
see.
I'll be dead.
Is it gonna be?
I'll be dead. Or actually, more accurately, other people will be dead because of my temper in the heat.
That is funny. Oh, now I think the high is now only 95.
Oh, only 95.
I don't know what the heat index. Right now the heat index is 100.
Oh,
So
no.
I'm gonna guess the heat index the heat index is probably gonna hover around 100 to 102.
I'm so happy I live in California. Even though that said, it does get to 100 here during the
It does.
summers, but at least it's dry heat. And
Well, I will say for
and people are
anyone,
still equally in
yeah.
danger when I'm around during that time, but
Yeah, well, and I will say for people for the Southeast, Florida is not the hottest part of the Southeast. Atlanta is.
it's yeah,
Atlanta,
but
and
still
then,
quite
it,
humid.
yeah, yeah. Well, it is, but it's humid everywhere in the Southeast.
Fair,
Florida
yeah.
isn't more humid than Michigan, even. It's just hotter here. But I lived in Michigan for 5 years, and Michigan does get slightly hotter than Florida
Hmm.
in the summer, only for about a week or so, but it does get slightly hotter. And I grew up in South Carolina where it was like 100 degrees on the thermometer was like a normal July.
Yeah. Like in Mass, at least I remember when I used to live there, um like it would get to like 90s and hundreds there and it would get super humid. Uh
Hmm.
but it just hot is hot.
It is.
Yeah, no matter
Well,
what.
this
And I
room
still
gets
hate it
warm
equally.
with all the equipment, having this digital piano and my computer. So I have a desktop computer with like a, I don't know, 900 to 1,000 watt power supply in it, which is normal for a computer. It's not using all that wattage, of course, for the
Mm.
most part. But then a keyboard that's a 100 watt keyboard, that's, and then my ring lights, which everybody's like, but LEDs don't produce heat. You're right, the LEDs themselves don't, but the light does.
Yeah.
The LED, the actual mechanism behind that creates the light. Otherwise, the LEDs wouldn't light up if you didn't have something to light them up. Requires
Yeah.
electricity. The things get hot. 40 watts is 30, well, 25 watts is still 25 watts. It still gets hot and it's shining on you. So,
So we go to
yeah, this
the
room is,
simplistic
th
term that
th
hot is hot.
yes,
Yeah.
this room is generally at least 5 degrees hotter than the rest of the house. So the fan is usually on medium or high.
Oof, oof.
And you can't hear it. It's a good ceiling fan. It's a silent ceiling fan.
That's
And I
good.
installed it myself so it would be done right. Because you get this people installing them and the ceiling fan starts to spin and you're just like, what are you doing? I thought you were a professional. It shouldn't move when the fan is spinning. Makes me think it's gonna fall on me. Throw it across the
Oh
room.
my God. That that's just a little bit
I know.
horrifying. But
I know.
welcome
I'm,
everyone to
hello,
EdTech Cafe
everybody.
podcast, where we stir the pot of educational technology and we serve it up to the teachers and learners alike. And yes, I had to go cheesy since it's called EdTech Cafe. Gotta. I'm
Hmm. Hmm.
Rosita. Who are you?
I I am Philip,
Hello.
and we are teachers
We
of
are.
dif-
We're
of different
real
things.
teachers.
Yeah, we're
But
not
we're
just
not your
actors.
only type of teachers. We are predominantly online teachers.
Yes.
Well, me, I do a mix now, but
Although I find it interesting, this is a little side note,
yeah,
that when companies do commercials and somebody says, "I'm not an actor, I'm a real patient." Yeah, they're still an actor. They're not a patient
we're
most of the
teachers.
time.
We're real, real, real,
We
real.
really are
We
teachers.
really are
I found
teachers.
I found that out
You can
a really
find us
weird way.
online, like on teaching platforms. Okay,
Well,
we have
it,
ears for
just real
ears.
quick side is I found that out a really weird way. Is the director of an opera that I was in? He was a really cool guy. And the next thing I know, I was watching a TV show and I saw him on a national commercial. And I was like, huh. And he's like, me and my wife thought that it was time for me to take this medicine for whatever, blah, 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 blah. And it said, and at that point, it did say actor portrayal. So they were at least being honest, but they don't always have to say that. And the person could even say, I'm a real dentist. No, they're not. Oh, and the reason I knew it was, well, actually, I don't think it said actor portrayal, but I knew it was because I was like, his wife? He's gay.
The secret is out.
I was like, no.
Oh, dude, that's that's a plot of a show that needs to happen now.
I was like,
Oh
this is
my
hilarious.
goodness.
I just started laughing as soon as he said his wife. I was just like, no. I was like, I have to tell him when I see him. I was like, I wonder how is his wife doing? I was gonna,
Oh my goodness.
so we're here to talk about things you should or shouldn't do, and in your business or in front of students because you don't want to get in trouble and things like that. That's my very
Basically,
simplified
legal
layman term.
considerations
Yes.
when teaching online, and whether it's for those the educators that have an online tutoring business, or if you just I'm talking about like this is stuff that you have to consider when teaching online in general, even for like online courses or live workshop shops that you guys have online. These are things that we need to consider if you don't like jail time or paying a large fee.
Or paying a lot. Most of the time, it's just paying a lot. Jail time is if you really
It's a
do something wrong,
combination of both.
which we both know of people who have done things that have.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
yes, you know which. See, I'm not even. I don't even. Every so many months or years, I have to bring this one up, and it's like I don't even want to remember anything about it.
Oh my gosh.
I just remember getting the message. It's like, did you know that I don't remember his name, thankfully, that was doing this, and I was like, was doing what, I don't know, something with trying to seduce people online, and it was really gross.
Well, it didn't help that this particular person was
A group teacher.
unfortunately
Yeah.
part of a
With a
particular list.
with a doctorate in music, I guess, too, I think.
I think you're
You just
right. Yeah, that was just shocking. And this is why for teaching platforms out there, vet your teachers. Live scan them.
yeah.
Everything.
Well, and I think they did because they were requiring for group classes. They were requiring at least for that you got a background check. But the thing is these are basic background checks. They're not like criminal background checks because those are very
No, it would
expensive.
still pop up in the basic one.
It should. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it just
Um
didn't. I just don't think anything had happened yet or he hadn't been caught.
but that was before where this particular platform started requiring the yearly background
Oh,
checks. That
I
didn't
thought they
happen
already were,
until
but
we
maybe
got
not.
acquisition by a particular company.
No, oh, you know what? No, I paid for it because I just did. Maybe I just thought they were requiring it because I was just paying for it anyway.
Yeah, to keep it to get that particular badge, you had to
Yeah,
do it every year, but that was only optional. You only
that's
had to do it
right.
like once if you start it. Um, but yeah, it was just a combination of just pure negligence at that point.
Yeah.
And
Well,
obviously
and I
so
know that,
because
I,
of,
yeah,
well, you know the story.
yeah. Well, and other platforms I know haven't been requiring it. Like another one, Lesson Face, wasn't requiring it, but then at some point, I think I still don't know if they even still do a background check at all on anybody.
I
I don't know if they do. There's another one. It might be them that just did one for free. There's another one that just contacted me and was just like, "Would you like a background check?" I'm like, "Okay." Is it's free? Okay, sure. It's like, don't ask me, just do it.
I don't
Don't ask your
remember if
teachers, just do
I
it.
was asked a background check for that company as well. Now that I think
Yeah, I
about it,
don't know.
um,
Okay.
or super prof. So maybe that would be actually a very
Whoops.
good
Oh, my sound just
feedback
went out. Hold on.
for.
It's been doing this. It hasn't done it during these sessions before. Very strange. Hold on. I can fix it.
But as Phil is doing that,
Mm. Yes, I'm
um,
back. I'm almost back. Am I back? Am I back? La la
you're
la
you're
la la
back.
la la. There we go. Now I'm good. That's so strange. Um yeah, it's oh wow. When I was typing that, background check tweeters. Oh wow, I was not looking at what I was typing because I was looking at the thing saying noticing that my sound went out and I wasn't paying attention to what I was. Hmm.
So
They background check teachers outside the US, I think. I don't know.
I
Oh no,
don't
they
know.
do background check
It's
everybody. They say they background check their teachers. Hmm. Supposedly.
supposedly indeed. But yeah, platforms, please, please, please vet your teachers because if you don't have a background check, um, you're giving an opportunity for disaster,
Mhm.
and
In two ways. You're giving an opportunity for someone who is a predatory type person to come in, and you're also giving the opportunity for someone to sue you as a company
mm-hmm.
for allowing that to happen. You can say, but they're a contractor. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
It's
really
like
doesn't
if you
matter.
hire a builder to build a house and a contractor screws it up, you're going after the builder, not the contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Contractor is safe. It's not there. The builder has to go after them. So you do have to, yeah, protect yourself, make sure you are insured. Most major platforms like Lesson Face and Take Lessons and Wizen, they're huge. They have
Well, take lessons now.
insurance.
It's mandatory.
Yeah, it
That
is.
because since they got acquisitioned by Microsoft, this is not a promotion.
Yeah.
Um, you have to do a yearly background check, at least for the teachers.
Yeah.
because Microsoft
Yeah.
acquires it. But Take Lessons themselves, before, it was optional.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I did. And I don't know if you remember if you had a phone call interview with them, if you were with them long and like long
yes,
ago
I
enough. Yeah, that was
did.
fun.
I actually had an interview, a phone call interview, all that, like, that decade ago, because they no longer do
Yeah.
that.
No, they haven't done that in over 10 years. They haven't done it in a long time.
Yeah,
They
they
stopped doing that very quickly.
and why? I mean,
Well,
like,
and at the
I am
time
old
they
school that
said
way,
they,
but I'd rather talk to the potential contractor that I'm going to be associating myself with, right?
yeah.
I don't want to have those types of surprises, when someone just, okay, just apply online, ta-da, yay, I'm a teacher. Is it
Do you know that
convenience? Yeah. Is it convenient? Yeah, but
G- GemWorks did that with me? I haven't gotten anything from it, but they did. They did a phone call interview with me.
yeah, I think Maria was the one that interviewed me all those years ago.
It might have been. I have no idea who it was.
I miss her. She's if
She's
you're
over at
watching this
Amazon
somehow,
still, I think.
I miss you, girly.
Working for Amazon, making more money. Probably
Yes.
still stressed, but
You know what? She does, she'll do, she's the type of person that will execute excellence regardless of the position that she's in. Like, she is that type of woman.
yeah. And she
And
obviously is psychic because she knew to leave Take Lessons at the exact right time.
she actually warned me.
Oh, she knew it was happening. Okay.
Yeah.
I figured that was why she was leaving. So
Yeah. So she was
it
trying to
was because of
protect me,
that.
and I should have listened to her. That's, I think, literally the fourth time I've ever said that during the 11 years that I've known her.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it. Why do I not learn from my mistakes? Okay, so
Now
going
I
back
still
on the
make lots of money from them,
topic.
but it's not as, they're not as pleasant to work with. I'll say that. They aren't as easy to work with for me.
Yeah,
So back
it's,
on the topic is what are the privacy laws? Now, I mean,
well, we're talking
I
about
had to admit,
three
I
aspects
don't know
of
that way.
laws. We'll be talking about privacy laws, intellectual property, and also navigating, like, online conduct and cybersecurity.
Hmm.
So,
And
go ahead.
I gotta admit that I don't really even know the privacy laws all that well, and I need to brush up on it and know what, you know,
Well,
the
got your back.
good.
I got you, dude. um, because this is, like, one of the things that you actually do learn as you become a certified teacher,
Mm,
and or rather a credentialed teacher, is that we have to know these things. Now, for international, that was something that I had to learn on my own, especially
mm.
dealing with students in Europe. Not teaching them, if I'm teaching them in Europe. So,
Yeah.
first off, privacy laws. I mean, well, we know that privacy is just a huge concern in the digital world as it
Hmm.
is. So, we have this privacy law specifically for educational in the US, and it is called FERPA. Sounds like a Pokemon sound. FERPA. Sorry. Um which stands for Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which basically protects students' educational records. And for my European listeners, we have GDPR. I don't know if that's something you actually guys say, but, or GDPR. But basically, GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation, which governs the data protection and privacy in Europe. And compliance isn't just about knowing about these laws, guys. It's about actually executing the practical steps that are involved. So, as
Hmm.
we were talking about, for instance, when using platforms, they need to comply with these laws, ensuring that all data exchanged is encrypted so no one can hack into the students' records. Or if you're looking for a tutor on these tutoring platforms, accessing your financial records or payment records. And also
Mm.
educational records, because a good teacher will always take lesson notes. Right, Phil?
Yes.
You have your
And
big
and
book.
some and I can say, yeah, say something about that. If you're handwriting stuff, I mean, nobody's going to steal it on the internet. No virus is going to take these pages and pull the stuff off the page. It's not even possible. And if it did, they wouldn't be able to read it anyway. So, no, I'm serious for most of it, except for when I have one of those days where I like to write legibly, and the next time where I want to know what I wrote the next time. And then when I'm writing stuff online, my notes do not even go on my computer.
Mm.
They go on a website. So I trust that website to follow the rules and to have good security so that I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah,
I don't put it on
I
my own website.
yeah, I personally don't like to write, even though with some platforms that it is required to write
Mm.
some notes on it, like lesson face and other.
Less of face doesn't require it. I never put anything.
Really,
I always
it was
just say
required for me.
acknowledge, and it just goes right in there.
Huh.
Just look for the big acknowledge button. And
Got
unless
it.
it's for group, I haven't done group lessons with them yet.
I've done one, and well, for the group, because it was actually a private company that booked me, that asked me to teach them
Mhm.
Japanese. Um, さ, it, I had to,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
more
that
like
makes
it felt
sense.
like
You
I
wanted
had
it to
to,
be for them.
for the
Yeah,
sake of
yeah.
my students, because it was public. Well, public for them, the ones that were able to access the class.
Mm.
それも, but I like to use good notes and or Notion to put my lesson notes on my students, just to
Hmm.
keep everything organized.
And for those of you that are only music teachers, my music staff.
My music staff.
Um, my music staff, it includes all the calendaring and calendaring, whatever, and note taking. You've got your calendar on there. It's really easy, drag and drop, like everything. It's the cheapest one for music teachers. It's like $15 a month, and people still complain about that. I'm like, 15 a month? It's
That's
amazing
practical
what it
though. I
does.
mean, $15 a
Yeah.
month is, it's good. It's good
Hmm.
compared to the other leaders, and also I'm sure like it depends on what the teacher needs too.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, and that I would just suggest, even if you have a secure website, which I do, and if you have a website and you're not sure if it's secure or not, just check with your provider, your provider for your website, and see if it automatically is in there, because some of them just automatically secure websites now. Even if, don't believe that somebody can't hack or get a virus in your. I had a virus that got into my site, my old site, and I was just like, well, this is too much. I just dumped my WordPress site and it just like wiped it clean and started over. All I had was my information for like my business. So I was just like, it's a reason to create a new one. And wiping it clean got rid of the virus too, because it got rid of everything. I mean, I just like I made sure it like dumped it. I mean, through the service that I was using, I made sure it just dumped everything. And I don't even put a whole lot of videos or anything, and I don't put any
meaning you
private
don't
information.
download videos from.
Yeah, I don't download videos into that. I
Yeah.
started doing that a little bit, and then I realized that this is a lot of work. It's somebody could still hack into it, and
And it also takes too much
if I
space from the computer.
it does. So then, if I want to share a video with someone, I use the Google.
The Google links.
Thank you. Yeah, or no. Well, it's not that. It's not Google Docs. It's
It's
the other
Google
one.
Drive.
Google Drive. Thank you. There's like
Hmm.
15 different Google saving platforms, so I like forget which one is which and which one I'm using at the time.
Fair.
Google
Fair.
Drive for like $5 a year, I think you get like 100 gigs of space, which I'm like, only $5? I'm like, it was like $5 or $10. I don't remember. It wasn't very much.
Mm-mm-mm.
And you can save all your stuff on there. It is safe. You can make sure it is private all the time. And then if you have a service, like I said, My Music Staff or the ones that Rosita said, you can it's usually private to the student and nobody can hack into it.
Yeah. So, and also as an alternative, you can create like your own Google folder and where you
Mm,
can just drag and drop the files that you want your student to have access to.
mhm.
Sorry, I noticed that someone's watching this on Twitch. Hello. I have to actually get my moderator. No. Oh, I have to update my app. Mother floofers. 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 This is a
Super.
friendly show.
Super. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now the next thing on the out or list
On the
is
list.
intellectual property. Now, in the beginning of my so-called Twitch career, was not a career, um, but I started this thing where to teach people how they can learn Japanese through anime. So we will watch a season of anime. All of us will get together, and I will be discussing the Japanese and also about voice acting and the translations as well. So yes, there was a lot of stopping and pausing because I wanted to quiz people. I wanted to see what they were able to understand, not by reading the subtitles. And for those that were just there to watch the anime and those that wanted to learn about voice acting in that particular industry, the difference between the Japanese voice acting versus American dub voice acting. And so, how was I able to get away with that? This is because intellectual property rights. So, Phil, do we know what that means?
I know IP in my mind stands for Internet Protocol, but I know that's not what we're talking about. So
Protocol.
it does. It also stands for intellectual property,
Yeah. I
just for
was like,
little
the?
useless Jeopardy knowledge that it means two different things. And I was like,
Yes.
IP? You mean like an IP address? Um, like 192.168, you know, that. Okay, so I think, well, I don't know a lot about intellectual property because I don't need it as much as a music teacher, except for, yeah, I really don't need a lot of it because most of what I'm teaching is all public domain. And I don't, and the only time I worry about it is if I'm teaching a piece of music that is not public domain, and even then, it's so easy to make it legal.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's so easy. You just buy a copy, have the student buy a copy. It's not that hard. And I also, because I teach some of the exam prep stuff like ABRSM, and they require you to have a purchased copy of stuff that is not public domain.
mm-mm.
You know, and they like you to use books rather than just printed sheet music. And even if you're doing online, they like to see the book sitting in front of you, even if you have it memorized, because, or you show the book to the camera to say, hey, I bought this. I bought this book. Here it is. Kind of thing, whether it's for singing or for piano.
Yeah, but a lot of times, like when it comes to that, like having a student buy a particular like physical copy of something, it can it can be tricky, especially like on the location. Maybe, um,
Mhm.
you know, if it's not available on Amazon, in the country that they live in, and yes, I'm talking about like an
Right,
international spectrum here. Or the person can't afford it, or
right.
people cannot have access because they live in a certain area to watch something. So that's where a VPN comes in hand. Yeah, a VPN comes in
Yes,
handy.
you show it on your computer to them.
And you can make your
Exactly.
computer believe that you are anywhere in the world, so you can access like the Korean Netflix. You get a
That's
plethora of more
true.
shows.
And when you're doing music a lot, oftentimes you can, depending on where you are, you can usually have an extra copy of something for teaching purposes.
Yeah, and we're gonna actually get more to that because if we're using, say, something popular, because another show that I used to do is Wednesday to teach English for more of my intermediate my intermediate students. And
Good show too.
it's such a fantastic show. Yeah. And because again, we want to attract, we want to keep, our students engaged. So we want to find something that's popular.
Sorry, I just
So
had this thought that
go
all
ahead.
your foreign students are now going to talk like Wednesday.
And we're all black and, yeah. The braids and everything. So oh shoot, what was it called? The fair use doctrine. That's what
Mm,
I'm trying to remember.
yes, that is
So
it.
the fair use doctrine, it allows educators to automatically use limited use in only educational settings. But we
Hmm.
need to understand the do's and the don'ts when it comes to using copyrighted material, especially in the fair use doctrine. So, well, let's kind of go back here on the intellectual property. Now, when we're dealing with intellectual property in education, it typically involves copyrights, which protects your original work, whether it's course materials, video lectures, your blogs, your shorts, all that stuff, and your courses, your online courses. Uh, I think I said that. No, yes, yes.
Mhm. No, you got
Um,
it. Yeah.
and with online education, the use of multimedia materials is it's so widespread.
Mhm.
And it's crucial to understand, like I said, the do's and don'ts. So we want to be careful and know about the guidelines on creating and using content without infringing on other rights. And when in doubt, just contact the people, right? To say, hey, I'm a fan of this. I believe that this will be good for my class. Would it be okay if I can use your material for a teaching assignment? And most of the time, like, yeah, sure. But of course, there's limitations to it. Um, are you going to view it on Twitch like I did?
Hmm.
Now, the way that I did this, like I mentioned before, is I paused after a certain amount of time. I asked questions. I reviewed. I kind of, I kind of, um, how do I say? I lost the what was I? Mm,
Well,
I manipulated it in a
yeah.
way to put it into an educational setting.
Yeah.
So that's how
And
we can use other materials. Go ahead, Phil.
yeah, you're making it so that, well, you're not just doing a movie night,
Yeah,
with them,
exactly.
you know, and just saying, let's watch a couple episodes of Wednesday, and I'll go get the popcorn, and and we're not even going to talk about it. It's you really are still teaching them, and it and like I said, with music, you can actually, it's even easier. Like, as a music teacher, it's so much easier
Hmm.
because you can watch anything you want that's on YouTube, and everything musical is pretty much there for free use for everybody in the world that doesn't block YouTube. So I mean, I do have students in China, so I mean, of course,
So in
that
China
is,
and the UAE.
yeah, and that's where I have to be. I'm with students that I have there in China. I'm a little more careful, like what I even say on Zoom. I'm careful with what I send. I even wonder, so wait a minute, my signature is on this email and it has a Facebook link. Am I allowed to send this? You are. It just won't. The link just won't work.
Yeah.
You can send it. Those links can be in there. China doesn't care if the links are in there. It's just the website facebook.com is not going to work in China.
Yeah. But your
Yeah.
actual website could,
But my
because it's an
website could, yeah.
educational website. So I know that there's um some Chinese laws that if it's proven and if it's scanned and okay,
Mhm.
then people in China will be able to access your initial website, not your
And
Facebook,
something to
but
know is, as teachers, that the Chinese government likes their students who can afford it to take from native speakers of whatever language
learning.
they are learning in. They don't necessarily have to be learning the language. My student is not learning English from me, except for every now and then where I'll say something. The other day, what did I say? I used the word gibberish, and she just said, "Wait a minute, what was that? Gibberish. What does that mean?" And she
Hmm.
wrote it down.
Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
I love my students in China. I have a couple in Beijing, and they're just great.
Yeah.
It's funny because actually, my student's mom says that her son speaks better English than Chinese.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. I thought
Part
you
of
were
me
going
is
to say
like,
better English than she does, and I was going to be like, well, I expect that, but better English than Chinese, that's really really funny.
oh. Okay. All right. So now, when you're in doubt, you can always, contact an IP attorney. You want to try to find one who kind of specializes in education, or at least is familiar with the fair use doctrine, which is an IP attorney, anyways.
Hmm.
So they can give you some guidelines and on creating and using content without infringing on other rights. Now, when it comes
Yes.
to language learning, though, oh god, I remember this was happened years ago. It's like at least 8 years ago when I started my YouTube channel, and so I was teaching Spanish, and we have this. So we, when teaching Spanish, there's these common examples that we will use, right? Especially when it comes to verb conjugation. You'll find these examples in textbooks: hablar, comer, and vivir. Hablar being an AR verb, meaning to speak in Spanish. Comer meaning to eat, which is an ER verb in Spanish, and vivir, which means to live in Spanish, which is an IR verb. So we will use these three verbs. Now, the content itself, when teaching the fundamental rules, please no, that's not copyrighted.
Hmm.
Okay? I had someone comment like, "You sound like this is like word to word from like another video, almost exactly." And I'm like, "Oh my god." The information on teaching again the fundamentals, that's not copyrighted. That's like copywriting 2 plus 2 equals 4. Okay? Um
I invented the question mark. Sorry, that's from an old movie.
Copyright on the question mark. Yeah.
I-
Oh, so yeah.
Name that movie. Just kidding. You don't have to.
Actually, it reminds me of a story. I forgot what phrase it was, but there was some lady who was trying to trademark a very popular phrase somewhere in the Northeast. I want to say it
Hmm.
was either Maryland or Rhode Island. One of those two states, I believe. It was on Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
But of course, it got denied, but she still tried to trademark it. And like, no. So, anyways,
You do have to, yeah, you have to be careful with what you trademark, and knowing your, well, we'll get to copyright in a little bit, just you knowing
well,
what those
copyright is a
rules are.
whole other episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Well,
intricacies when it comes to copywriting.
and I was going to say something about all this. Oh, I put a link on the
Oh,
thing, Facebook thing for a website that goes through Teacher's Guide to Copyright and Fair Use. But
oh, on
I
Facebook.
was looking
Okay.
to see if there was a really good one for just intellectual property, and that's what you get. It's like everything seems to like just kind of generalize it into copyright and fair use for some reason. But
Oh, hola, Christy. Dios. Dios le bendiga. ¿Cómo estás, chula? Hace mucho tiempo. All right, sorry. One of my
It's
older
okay.
students was watching this on Facebook. I just now saw um the thing. Hola, hola. Oh, hi, mom. Michaela, hello. Michaela is another colleague of ours. She
Hey, there's
taught
more.
I
Whoops.
had someone comment like,
Oh,
"You sound like
oops.
this is like
Sorry.
word."
Sorry.
She
I'm
is
trying to
is,
make it
is
stop.
another
Make it
colleague of
stop. This is why
ours.
I hate Facebook. Is it does that. You try to click on something to make it stop, and it just makes it bigger and harder to find.
Yes, that's why I just go because I know that I reposted this. So hold on,
There we
comments.
go. Now it's muted.
I
I was
don't
trying to
see
get.
your thingy.
I
I
put it
don't
in the
see your thingy.
Facebook.
I don't see your comment. Let me go to my
In the live now, I put a comment. See, mine isn't showing other comments, but that's Facebook Live for you.
Ah, I see it now. I just had to go to my channel.
Oh
My
yeah,
my
it's
my
in
official channel.
yeah, the
Rosita Ruiz
Rosita
official.
Ruiz.
Find it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, I am going to
It's a basic guide. I knew it was I knew I'd seen it
I'm going
somewhere
to go
on there.
ahead and post it on my restream here.
Hmm.
Oh, it's right up here. There we go. Please hold, guys. Okay, so this is the link that Philip posted on the Facebook Live. So please check it out. Oh,
Did
I've
you
read this before.
yeah, I it's a good
Yeah,
one. They've got some good stuff on
they do. And it's very
Edutopia.
condensed and easy to understand.
Yeah, it's not like, it's the difference between it's like when you're looking up medical stuff, it's fun. The difference between looking up something on WebMD and the NIH. If you really want to know everything you don't need to know, look at the NIH, which I like to do, which is like a day's reading for one thing. And then WebMD just consolidates it into like, I don't know, a paragraph. A very, very dumbed down, I'm not sure if the person writing this is a medical person paragraph, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, going on to the third topic of today will be navigating online conduct and cybersecurity. All right, Philip, we're going to go to the days of when we actually worked together in the same
Mhm.
platform.
Yeah.
So, okay, give me a second,
Uh,
guys. I got to mentally prepare for this one.
online conduct and cybersecurity. Online
Okay.
conduct is a really fun one.
This again for tutoring platforms. Vet your teachers.
And as a
Require
teacher,
background check,
when you're going to
please.
say something, here's one thing I try to remember to think before I say something, because sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I forget to think first. Is okay, the thing I was about to say, is it racist? Will it offend someone? Do I think it shouldn't be offensive, but it still could be? There's a lot of things.
There
If you
is,
aren't
and you have
sure
to
at
be
all,
culturally
don't say it.
sensitive as
Yeah.
well as especially when you're working as especially when you're teaching an online group
Hmm.
and it's open to the world. Well, you're going to have people from different cultures come in and watch you.
Yeah. So there's things like, for example, I posed this question on an online forum once, about different, culturally inappropriate songs or words in songs.
Mm-hmm.
Some are still used, like the word. I'm going to say the word because it is used in a song, in the Christmas song, Eskimo. Still used. Every singer still uses that word,
Mm.
even though it is technically a culturally inappropriate word to use. It is still used. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's something else behind it. there are other things. I had people just saying, "Oh, this is ridiculous. People are just too sensitive." I'm like, "Well, the point is we're teachers, and we're not trying to offend sensitivities. We're trying to teach something." So
Exactly.
potentially culturally inappropriate things like teaching the words and the song Camptown Races without explaining the history of the song is culturally inappropriate. Did I used to do it? Yeah, because I didn't know. None of us did
Also, songs
because we
like
weren't taught it.
kung fu fighting.
Yes, and turning Japanese, which I'm going to be honest, I sang in my band.
It's okay. You didn't know
Um,
better. I forgive
I
you.
didn't know I did, but it was still a funny song. And the funny thing is, I don't understand, but most Asians that heard it seem to really like the song. I'm like, this, so it's not offensive. They're like, no, we don't care. I'm like, somebody's got to be offended by this because it has a Chinese music sound and it's called Turning Japanese, which, if you know what that means, I'm not going to explain it because, hey, we're online and I'm
Yeah.
trying to be non offensive right now. I know what it's talking about. Um, it's an old 80s song, and there's so much about it that is not cool, but it's a fun song. And like you said, Kung Fu Fighting, like there's so many things that you can that we can just find something else to use.
Mm-mm.
It is not offensive to people,
Yeah, there
potentially.
are, especially like the older songs that, coming from, the 1800s to up to the 1990s, or even, I don't know, I'm going to go as late as early 2000s,
Hmm.
and where there are lyrics that are not culturally sensitive. There are racist connotations for them.
Yeah.
And like you said, the Christmas song is one of them. Kung Fu Fighting is one of them. Although it's still a great song. Just like the whole okay.
Yeah, because
It's a fun song. It's a fun song.
they always use that little
I
thing,
mean, they use it in Kung Fu
which
Panda.
is they used it in everything.
Yeah.
Well, that sound is used in some Chinese music too. It is a sound you would hear. I've even asked Chinese students, "Does this sound?" Yeah, it's like, yeah, it sounds very Chinese. But the problem is I've asked
The
people
lyrics.
that, and they remember the song "Turning Japanese," and like, "Oh, that sounds very Japanese." I'm like, "Yeah, it doesn't sound Japanese at all. It isn't." I'm like, no. And I don't mean just Americans, people from all over the world. If they've
Hmm.
heard that song before, they immediately think it's a Japanese sound. Like, not even close. Like, it's just so part of the problem is we it's taking things out of context.
Context,
It's
yeah.
using something, and it's also saying that, oh, well, because it's one Asian country, that means they're all the same. It's like that means just like every
We
European country is
different.
the same, and all their music and food is the same.
We have similarities, just like Latin America. We have similar
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, kind of like when people call Africa a country. It happens. It happens a lot.
They need to go back to school, apparently. Okay. But yeah, so we need to be, yes, it's not about being weak or anything. It's just whatever we say can be offensive to that student,
Hmm.
especially with adult students. And we may think it's okay because of our culture and it's socially accepted. But for other
Yeah.
cultures, it is not.
Well, and
So, and that
I
includes
was even
go
thinking.
ahead.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry,
Sorry, I was
I'm
gonna
cutting off.
say, so usually when I'm teaching an in-person group class, I'll just call me Rosita for an adult class. But they're
Mm,
like, no, you're the teacher. You deserve respect. So they will just say
yeah.
Miss or Mrs. Or they will call me their form of teacher and plus my last name
Mm,
to
yeah.
show me their respect because apparently it's very offensive since I am considered in their culture superior, so I deserve the high level of respect, which is very nice actually. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But um it's for them it's offensive to call me by my first name.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, when I was growing up, that is how we did it. Like no teacher was called by their first name by the child
Mm-hmm.
ever. But we've gotten to this point where, I mean, I know I do it and you do it, where we just go, nah, my name's Philip, or you say my name is Rosita, and it just happens. It just starts to come out, and they start calling us by our first names. And sometimes I wonder if there would be better learning if we went back to, I'm Mister and you're
At,
Miss or
at least
Mrs.
when it comes to respecting your adults, yes. When I'm
Yeah.
teaching in classroom in an actual school environment, I have my students either call me maestra if I'm teaching Spanish, um, or Miss Ruiz, or if I'm teaching Japanese, sensei
Mm-hmm.
in a school environment. If I am tutoring you, if it's 101, just to make it, the environment chill, then like just call me
Mm-hmm.
Rosita
Yeah. And these are, I mean, things just to, I mean, whatever is more comfortable for
for you as the
everyone as a
educator.
teacher. Yeah, what you feel more comfortable with. Some people are not comfortable with just having someone call them by their first name ever.
Mm-hmm.
So, or even calling their students by their first name, just which is interesting. That just depends on the person. And I just had a thought on one other kind of example because I always give music examples. I was thinking of something that might go along the lines with like language teachers. Let's say you're teaching language, but you're teaching like comedy. Would it be appropriate to show Blazing Saddles?
Mm.
Now, it depends because Blazing Saddles is not racist. It's making fun of and showing the ridiculousness of racism.
It's like showing Avenue Q, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I say that, but if another person believes it to be racist, then to them it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for me to question that.
Yeah, because we want to
Yeah.
create an open and safe and an inclusive environment when it comes to teaching. A learning environment should always feel safe and secure, and also where they feel that they can be themselves
Hmm.
in a judge free environment. It's when it comes to teaching, especially if it's like your first class, if you're to your first lesson, whether it be in person or online lessons, set up your expectations, especially in your code of conduct. Whether it be so establishing a clear online code of conduct, since we're focusing on online education, is going to be crucial for both you as the educator and the students. And this is, once again, is going to help maintain a respectful and secure learning environment. And this
Mm.
can cover everything from etiquette to stricter policies against cyberbullying or putting inappropriate things on your Zoom name.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Because now, saying that, just know that as a teacher teaching group classes in something like Zoom, you can change a student's Zoom name, and you can make it so they cannot change it during the Zoom call.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they can leave the Zoom call and come back in with a different name, but then you have to change it again, and then you can ban them because you can just you have to make sure that they understand that that kind of thing isn't allowed because it's to protect you, not to protect them.
Yeah. Sorry, I was giving my husband some oranges for him to bring to work.
So
Wifey
yes, I
ones.
mean if you're yeah you get host tools if you're the host of a Zoom meeting, and there's a lot of nice little things under there that you can do. Make sure that they can't change their names. You can still change their name even if they can't. So if their name is something super inappropriate, then you just
Yeah.
quickly change it to a number or
Having a
something.
fun
Just
online name, like I understand, especially with these kids, playing games, they have their usernames and stuff. Okay, for me, that's fine. But that's a personal preference for me as an educator.
Hmm.
As long as I already know their names. That is. If it's
Yeah,
my first lesson, please
that's.
use your first
Please tell
first
me
name.
your real name.
Yeah. Um but once established, like once we get to know each other, go ahead and use your username as long as it's appropriate.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely do that.
Now I know
So, and
you have like 10 minutes before the class, so just quickly,
we got
I
time. We can do it.
we can cybersecurity. Okay,
Oh yeah.
we are all using various platforms that host sensitive information. So basic cybersecurity practices are not just advisable. This is not a mere suggestion. It's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And there are there are sites in where they give us, guides and easy to implement strategies that can significantly enhance your security. Um, and these are tips that you guys can start right away. But you need to protect yourself. That's why I love that's again that's why I use a VPN as well. I personally use Surfshark. I love Surfshark. I've been using Surfshark since 2017
Mm-hmm.
and I feel safe. And they caught a lot of people trying to sneak in because they let me know like, "Hey." So,
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm, so this is funny. Since I used to work in tech, I was so anti Norton. I use it now because it actually works well. Even tech people are still like, they just assume Norton doesn't work because it was
They
junk
had a bad rap
years
for a
ago.
while.
And everybody just assumes it doesn't work. I can test it by going to places that I know will be viral and it immediately pops up and immediately stops it.
Mm.
Like there's no like there is no hesitation. I get a pop up like instantaneously before a website even opens. I get a pop up saying it's been blocked, which is pretty impressive, I think. And then I do scans with other like more robust programs, and they find nothing anymore
Wow.
because of it. So it does work. They do work. I do recommend for everybody having something, even if it, and they have their own VPN. I personally don't use a VPN. I mean, I never really. I know that it can be helpful for someone like Rosita because one of the things a VPN can do is allow you to do things like say, well, I want to be on Korea's Netflix, or I
Mm-hmm.
want to be on England's Netflix, or I want to be on whatever, because there's some show on there that just happens to not be on ours,
Yeah. It's
and you
nice.
can trick it to into thinking you're somewhere else.
Yes. That's why I love VPNs
Yeah.
primarily.
And as long
So,
as Netflix doesn't crack down on it and say you're not allowed to do that anymore, which because they
which is
they like to
honestly,
do things like that.
I think it'll be
I don't know
very
why they
tough
would.
to do
Yeah.
anyways. So, and unless they come up with a service or they come up with because copyrights in the US is very much different from copyrights from all
It
around the
is.
world. So
Yeah.
it's going to be very difficult for them to do, and they shouldn't really get into that because we're still paying for a service and we're still
Yeah.
paying for you, Netflix.
Well, and the only way they could do it is they would have to have something that says that your account is linked to a certain country only, no matter where you are. So then you could choose a country. That would be the only positive way they could do
I
it.
think we
Positive
already do
spin.
that. When you first
Uh,
register.
yeah, but it doesn't lock you in, I don't think, because you're able to
No, it
VPN
does.
to
I think
somewhere else.
locking in will be hard because
Yeah,
again, especially
yeah,
when you're having a VPN.
yeah, yeah. It would have
And
to.
Netflix is, it is known that we will use Netflix whenever we travel too. So
Yeah,
even
yeah.
internationally, we will use Netflix to download videos on our phone. Well, download it to have access to the video or show offline.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So let's go ahead and
Good.
wrap up. Um, so we talked about privacy laws. We talked about intellectual property and the fair use doctrine. We
Mm-hmm.
also talked about online conduct and a dash on cybersecurity. We nailed all of the things today in our.
We did. We did good. Did we keep on topic or something? That's not right. We'll have to. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh
Well,
my.
we
Okay.
need to
Were we
start. We
actually
need to start doing
focused
that more.
today?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
Something
For
went
me,
wrong.
I will thank Celsius because my ADHD today is it's on crazy mode, and I don't know why. As soon as I drank this instead of coffee, I felt like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, this is what normal feels like. This is how focus feels like.
Yeah, I don't do the only caffeine I do is whatever's in a little bit of dark chocolate that I eat,
Mm.
which is a lot, by the way. 1 ounce of dark chocolate is like 50 milligrams of caffeine.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that actually.
yeah, well, I mean that's like well this big of a piece
Well,
generally.
anyways,
It's more
isn't
than
that
you
also
think.
the serving size recommended?
Yeah,
So, oh,
that wasn't even a heart. Come on, come on, Apple. You can do better than that.
all right, hold on. I gotta do this now because I
Yeah.
can. Wait.
So watch, it's not gonna work. Oh, it did work.
Yeah, it
Okay.
did. It did. It did.
Oh,
All right.
what's the this one?
Oh yeah. The.
Is it that or is it this or is it this? I don't
Oh
remember.
wait. There you go.
I think it's that. There it is. That's a good one. I like that one. The rocker.
All right,
Okay, see, we got
guys.
off topic. We did good.
Yeah, we did. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please subscribe, follow. Our social medias are in the description below. And let us know if you guys are planning to open up your own educational business, whether it be online courses or if you're starting to plan your own tutoring business. Let us know. All right,
All
guys,
right.
we will see you
Mm,
uh sometime next week because I am starting camp next week. I'm
good
a
for
site
you.
director. Yes.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
we will have to change the dates. We'll keep you guys updated. And I
We'll
forgot to tell
figure
you,
it
Phil,
out.
so we'll text.
All right.